Uh, I don't know. We, I
Because we
mean,
definitely want to host an
it
education
might be.
managers
It
forum.
probably it might be a good idea to host one before the Health Institute, though, so we can garner some feedback, for the Health Institute. But just look forward for that Health Institute coming in February. Information should be coming out soon. We also have an Education Institute. We're partnering with the Judy Centers. I know we've been talking about that for a while. It was supposed to be coming up next month, but due to COVID-19, it was postponed. And at the moment, it's supposed to take place at the in Cambridge at the Hyatt Regency in Cambridge, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. It looks like it's going to be entirely virtual. Um, we have a meeting in about, I think, the 28th or 29th of this month. And we'll come to a final decision. We'll meet with the Judy Centers this month. We'll come to a final decision on it. But I think Yvonne and I both think it's going to end up being virtual. It's just, I can't see it being in person. But we've got to make that decision so we can let Cambridge know.
Right. And we've had over 22 people put in workshop proposals.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and all of them were saying they could do virtual.
So that's good. All right. So I guess after next month, after this meeting, the registration should come out probably sometime in October, early to mid October. I would think that registration should come out, right? For the Education Institute. So look out for that. And then, Yvonne, did you want to talk about the partnership with Laurentia and Towson University? I know we talked about it a little bit last time. I don't know how many people actually reached out to her.
Well, that was more during education. That was the Health Institute that it really got, conversation really got deep with Laurentia. So can you pull up, do you want to share that thing also?
Yeah, let me pull that up.
Is on the board of directors, and she's a professor at Towson University. And so she was on our call with the health managers because they were looking for places. Their students still have to do some type of community service. I don't know if that's the word, towards their degree. And so she was trying to figure out how to still make that happen, even with everything being virtual. And what she told the health managers were that her students, they need a certain amount of hours. She was already able to accomplish some of those hours, but her students could be available to help with a lot of different projects. Like if you're using Classroom Dojo and you need something prepared, a newsletter or a project, something dealing with health, some research done or anything like that, or to even lead a project, they would love to partner. And I actually did have a couple of health coordinators email me to make sure they had the right information for Laurentia. So if you haven't talked to your health person, please know that is something that was offered. Meanwhile, so Laurentia, she's on the board, she's a friend. Laurentia sent this article out to some of the other professors at Towson University. And she CC'd us on it. And it's a article about the guidelines, the benefit of collaborating with Head Start programs. And so we're hoping from that we get some more different departments. So some places already have great relationships with Towson University, but there's some other departments that we're probably not working with as much as we would like to. And so Simeon just put it in the chat, the link for it in the chat. And this is definitely a way a good partnership happens with someone being on the board that is in this type of position that she's in. So hopefully we'll be hearing some more things and we can forward it on to you. We can also connect you with Laurentia, right? Simeon just put her email in the chat. to see if you have any projects or anything that you just need another hand to do. It would help her, it would help us, we would still get the in-kind from it, non-federal share, and everyone would still be learning.
Yeah. Yeah. So please, if you have anything or you need some support, reach out to Laurencia. And I know people from different parts of the state, but I'm pretty sure they probably have students from across the state.
Right. And considering it's virtual, you can be in Corey's program down at Eastern Shore. So we don't have to worry about someone trying to get to the Eastern Shore, being that everything's happening virtually, pretty much,
Yeah. So yeah, please reach out to Laurencia. I'm gonna put her email in the chat one more time, just to make sure it's there and you can see it. And there's also a link to that article. And read that article. Feel free to share it with anyone you think would like, or anyone that you plan to partner with. This is a good article that you can use, so that they can understand the benefits of partnering with Head Start.
Can you do me a favor and put that, Yvonne, can you send those links to my email for me, please?
Sure, we'll send them out by email.
Yeah.
Also.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. So any other questions before we move on from updates from the Maryland Head Start Association? Any other questions on anything or comments?
We're gonna do the
This is Beth. I just got an email from Teresa Booker, and she's trying to log in and she's having issues. I'm not sure why. And I asked her if she was logging in through Zoom or however. So I just want to let you know that.
Okay.
And I'm not sure why she's having issues, but.
I'll reach out.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thanks.
Maybe it's some connection issues.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
I know there's been, all over the place, people have had problems logging into Zooms and GoToMeetings and all kinds of platforms since school has started.
Right.
Okay, the next thing we want to talk about is the Recovery Guide to Child Care. And this is something that we're going to need you guys really need some help, some assistance with. MSDE is developing this guide. All right, and let me open myself up a copy so I can read it. Now, but Yvonne, do you want to talk quickly about it while I'm opening up another one so I can read it? One second. All right. Well, anyway, I have it here. They're developing a guide, and what they're asking that we submit videos or photos or written examples of how you are engaging with the following. And I'm going to scroll down just a little bit so you can see. They're asking for videos, photos, or examples of classroom learning environment layouts that support social and physical distancing, learning centers / interest areas, small group / large group activities that can be done with social and physical distancing, adaptations to toy / learning materials, storage and use within the learning environment, maintaining sensory development materials and activities, meal times, rest time layout, modified drop-off / pickup procedures, health screening and temperature check procedures, strategies to communicate with, engage, and meet the needs of families, all right, and language to talk to children. And there's an email. I can send you this letter. There's an email where you can, email any video or photos or written examples. And they're asking for this information by September the 25th. I also have a waiver, that you can get parents to sign, that they would need parents I guess they would need those waivers. If you sent the video, if you sent the photo, they would need those waivers with the video or the photo. All right. So they're working with a team of consultants to design a toolkit. All right, that'll help administrators and educators interpret the state's COVID-19 guidance and regulations, with a focus on how the implementation and strategies that are currently being used in the field by some of or most creative and resourceful programs. So they're looking for help from everybody, to find out what it is that you're doing, so that they can put it in, so they can take the best practices and put it in the toolkit. Yvonne, I know you were in a meeting with Cindy. Maybe you can go a little bit more in depth than just this letter here.
So they brought different partners together in a meeting to talk about it. So what happened is there's a whole lot of new rules and regulations, especially around COVID. And they realized that the book is long and it's big and it takes a lot to read it, but it didn't actually give people guidance. Like, okay, we say this is the rule and regulation, but this is what it looked like. So another state had developed an interactive toolkit. So they decided to go ahead and put that together, an interactive toolkit. And it could be beneficial to an agency, a small, anyone who's licensed by child care, from a small home provider to a big Head Start program, and that everybody could use it differently. So what they were looking for now was any programs that had already thought the process out, or any programs that were already open or open during the summer that would want to submit ideas, pictures, or videos for best practices. Because what would happen, this is how it would look if you log into the toolkit, if you actually didn't have any policy, no procedures, right? Or any policies, it went, there's an administrator and then there's a teacher. They're gonna come back later and work with the Head Start programs for other positions that we have, because we brought up transportation. People from Head Start, I was asking about transportation. I also asked, what does it look like when you're taking one child that's coming from somewhere else, a big entity, not from home, but another entity to your program? And they was like, oh, we didn't think about that. But what happens is you get on and it would be the regulation, and then you could click on it, and if you already had a policy, you could write your procedure in there. And to the left a little bit, this is how the functionality they said it looked when we was talking about it could change. There would be examples of how other people are handling this that have already been vetted by OCC and said, yes, these are good practices. So you could write your procedure, or you could look to the left and look at other 3 or 4, or not a lot, like not 15, 3 or 4 different ways to do it. And you can say, oh, I like that. And when you clicked on it, it would move it over, and that would be now your procedure, right? So you could go through and look for what may be something you've been struggling with, and look through the main headings and the topic with the regulation. And then you could say, oh, let me see what other people are doing. And it could be a picture, like they were saying, if you've come up with good ideas for nap time, the way the cot should be in the room, right? They want people to submit pictures, because somebody will say, oh, I was thinking about putting my cots like this. And then you look at the pictures, or a couple say, oh, that's a better idea. That will work in our space. You could click it, it will bring it over to your side. And then at the end, you could print out everything, even your procedures you thought were someone else's that was good, and it will give you a living document that you could share to say, okay, this is how we're doing all these different things. But they've come up with some, but they're looking for a few agencies that have already, one, either was open during the summer or are open now, that have come up with good their ideas, so that they could submit those ideas to for them to. Now, when they say vet, because we went over this, it's not about calling you back and going, hey, that's not a good idea. They just want to look at the idea and think, you know what, this could work for a lot of people. And then they would add your idea to the list on the left that people could look at to help make a, to say, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. Oh, this is a good idea. Or this is a picture. When you look at the way somebody describes something's done and then you see a picture of it, it helps you figure it out better. Even they're looking as far as communication with parents. Like, what things would you say that would help make parents feel at ease when they're dropping off and they know they can't come in the building? Like, how are you handling that? They're even looking for those type of tidbits. So we're looking for some volunteers to participate.
Oh.
Did somebody say something? So does that make sense to everyone? They're trying to create something that can turn into a living document for people or help you out. If you haven't went live yet and you're still trying to, if not in person and you're still trying to figure out your procedures, once they get this done, you'll be able to go on there, click on what you're having a question about and see suggestions. This is the rigs, here's suggestions on how to do it.
So Yvonne, this is Beth. Are they just looking for just anyone to submit, what they've been doing? Like you said, like, if they've been open the whole time or if they've just been open over the summer, not open, but, doing virtual or maybe even on site. Are they just looking for anybody to provide feedback so they can start aggregating it? Is that what it is?
Right. So,
okay.
Yeah, they're looking for, because even though they've come up with some good practices for some other people,
Yeah.
they don't really think they have a good diversity of opinion, of ideas.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they want to do something that goes beyond just, here's the rigs, figure out how to do it.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
one of the things that I was on and maybe you guys know about this already, I was on a Baltimore City Judy Center meeting yesterday, and they put together a document that includes, what all the Judy Centers have been doing, not everything, but just some highlights of what the Judy Centers have been doing in the Baltimore City community to really help with educating, their children and their family, like the resources they're providing their families, and just some things that were successful. Is that something that you would be interested in seeing?
Right. So somebody from the Judy Center was on the call. So it was a bunch of partners on the call. It was Head Start, Judy Center,
Okay.
so it was Head Start as far as the association. It was Child Care as far as the association. The two associations. It was the Judy Center was on the call. Jen Nizer was on the call. The people spearheading the project. There was quite a few people.
So they're just asking from anyone. So those groups, they can submit all that information however they want. Good.
So they were asking all these groups to go back to our people and, ask a few programs. So then the reason this document came up, because we were like, well, we want to make sure we're all saying the same thing. This is just one of the documents. Here's another document. So programs that were open during the summer or that are open now for in-person, whether it's hybrid or whatever, those are the programs we're looking, because they have, everyone else is still has put their stuff together, but they haven't implemented it, right? The people who are open have implemented whatever they believe their processes should be, and they even have figured out what's working and what's not working. And so those are the ones that we want to represent Head Start in submitting some ideas or pictures. And then, they did do a release form just in case you're trying to send any pictures that have children in it. But even a picture, like I said, of how someone is setting up nap time could be helpful to someone trying to figure out how to put those cots in a certain way so that it still encompasses social distancing.
No, and that's great that they're doing that, because I know when I talk to folks, everybody's they're just trying to figure it out, and they want to know, what are you hearing? What do what can you share? Yeah. So that's really good they're doing that.
Yeah, it was pretty good that they were moving from just sending out paper here's your regulations to, and sometimes even some toolkits aren't helpful, right? Because they're really not interactive.
Right.
Like you really don't get see pictures or words of someone is doing it. So that's what this is. So we're just trying to know for sure who's did something over the summer or who is live in person now. I want to ask you to be part of the sampling for this.
Okay. So I will make sure that I send out a follow-up to this meeting, and I'll have the links, or I have these documents attached so that you can, because they have all the contact information is there. Someone say something? No, I thought somebody was saying something. So all the contact information is there. So then that way you can, if you have something that you'd like to send in, you can send it in. And I don't know, Yvonne, did they say when they want to get it, when they want to have it completed?
It may be in the email I sent you, because this is just the one document. There's the other document that actually spells each rig out, because I sent you these 2 documents. So if you decide when you get the other document, then you look through and see what you can submit based on. It says let's see. It said September 25th.
Right. That's when they want to have this stuff submitted. But when do they plan to have the toolkit completed?
I don't know. It depends on how much stuff they get. And we just got this. When did we just got this the other day.
Right.
So, but that's why they want programs that are already doing it. Because if you're already doing it, then you should be able to look at your policy, your regulations, your policies, and add it on to here.
Okay. All right. Well, staying in the vein of, toolkits and virtual classrooms and all of that, there is a training that I want you to just be aware of. Or it's actually not a training. It's a conversation. This is going to be September 22nd from 3:30 to 5:30. It's a conversation on mental health, on school mental health, supporting students, families, and educators as school restarts during COVID. It's free. All right. It's put on by the University of Maryland Social Work. And here are the panelists, and you can register here. So I am going to put this link. If you want to learn more about it, I'm going to put this link in the chat so that you can, so if you have time, you can register for this conversation. I think it'll be really good. I am going to register and attend myself. I think it'll be really good. So I just encourage people to check that out. Again, it's a conversation on school mental health. And along with this, I don't know if you all are aware, but HIPAA compliance for technology has been relaxed during COVID-19. Now, because they are aware that, so many programs that, hospitals, doctors, whatever, are doing a lot of telehealth work. And although, we're doing virtual classrooms, our health managers, family services are going to be sharing health information, through Zoom, GoToMeeting, and these virtual platforms. So it may be beneficial for us to understand which platforms are actually HIPAA compliant. All right. So I'm going to put this document, I'm putting a link to this document in the chat. I will also make sure that it's sent to you in an email. But this here, just kind of explains a little bit of what a HIPAA compliant technology is. And you can click on this link. You can click on this link here so that you can read the relaxed HIPAA compliance regulations. All right, and scroll down a little bit, and they give a list of HIPAA compliant platforms that you can use. You have Adobe Connect, which is very expensive. All right, and they have the compliance information. You have Cisco WebEx, GoToMeeting, and Zoom Pro. And I think this is probably important for us, as Yvonne was pointing out earlier. A lot of programs are using Zoom, but you're using the free version of Zoom, which may not be HIPAA compliant. All right, so it says here that the Zoom Pro version is HIPAA compliant. So you might just want to check into it, because I'm pretty sure your health managers, your family service workers are doing virtual meetings with parents, maybe sharing some health information, and you want to be sure that you're, up and compliant with all HIPAA laws, rules, and regulations. And so these are the 4 platforms right now that, according to the University of Maryland School of Social Work, are HIPAA compliant. All right, so this, might be good for you to bring to the attention of your health managers. And when we have we'll also send something out to the health managers as well. All right, so I put this link in the chat where you can read through this in a little bit more depth. All right. If you have questions on this, I don't have a lot of answers here. You had to get the answers from this document and some of the links that are in this document. All right. And then the last thing I wanted to bring to everyone's attention, you may or may not know, but there have been new, they made a final rule on DRS, which is the designated renewal system. And I'm going to put this link in the chat so that you can, so that you know everything. And let me find it so I can get it up on the screen. Here we go. So there are 2020 changes, and I'm gonna put this in here in the chat. This is the actual PDF. If you have not received the PDF, you can get it right here. All right. Let me find the right place to get the changes. No, I don't want to go to that one. I don't want to go to that one. Here, I'll just bring this one up. All right, here, this is the actual PDF here. All right. And you'll see that there are key changes from the prior DRS rule, deficiency condition. Under this rule, the DRS no longer requires competition for grantees with a single deficiency during their project period. While all deficiencies are serious and substantial or systemic, changing the condition to require competition if a grantee receives 2 deficiencies during the project period better reflects significant quality failures of an agency. Additionally, the change will appropriately be put the focus on grantees having systems in place to ensure health and safety incidents do not occur or are quickly identified and rectified, and on financial and human resource systems that support ongoing high quality operations. All right, so if you get 1 deficiency during your project period, you're not forced to go into recompetition. You have the class condition, and I won't read all of this, but read some of it. For the class condition, the final rule facilitates that the use of class as a quality improvement tool and promotes greater transparency for grantees. To achieve this, the final rule removes the lowest 10% criterion while simultaneously establishing quality thresholds and raising the competitive thresholds for each domain of the class. All right, so they've raised the thresholds, and what I can do is also break it down so that it's in, something smaller. to kind of summarize it. But you can read through and see what those thresholds are for each domain of class. All right, and then there are fiscal conditions. All right, for the fiscal condition, the final rule retains the requirement to compete if a going concern is identified in an audit report. It also adds a second criteria that requires competition if a grantee has a total of 2 or more audit findings for material weakness or questioned costs related to their Head Start funds and audit reports for financial period within the current project period. This change results in a fiscal condition that better detects risk to fiscal management and oversight. All right, so you're going to want to look through this. The new DRS conditions will be in effect beginning October the 27th. It's when they begin. All right. So if you get a chance, if you haven't taken a look at it a little bit more deeply. Again, the link is in the chat. And you should be able to actually, let me put the link in the chat again, because it looks like I sent it to just one person. There we go. You should be able to get that now. All right, so that is the DRS final rule. And, get any other information about it, I'll be sure to let you know. I do see Lavanya asks, do you know if Microsoft Teams is HIPAA compliant? I'm not sure, Lavanya. Based on this document here, those are the 4 programs: Adobe Connect, Cisco WebEx, GoToMeeting, and Zoom Pro are the 4 that are HIPAA compliant. I'm not sure about Microsoft Teams. All right. So are there any questions or anything that anybody would like to share, just about your programs quickly? I know it's 1:51 and we'll be heading off soon, but is there anything, how is the startup going? Anything you'd like to share about starting up? Any achievements, any obstacles that you've been through, that you've come across?
Well, Simeon, I'm going to share obstacles that I heard about from a program. So apparently all the schools, there's this, so there was additional EBT, I guess, during the summer. And now there's another additional, I don't know if it's called EBT, but if you're in the public school, the Thompson Public School, the money that was normally being spent on food are now being given to parents through a separate card. And I've had a couple of programs tell me that's affecting their enrollment, that people are choosing, because the Head Start children can't get it unless they are in the public school. And I had a couple of programs tell me now, I don't know, that's what they were saying, that some of the parents were saying that they would rather go to the public school because they can get this extra money to help feed their families. Even if the Head Start programs are helping with meals, they're not necessarily, this is not a meal. This is,
Right.
could be an extra $300-400, depending on how many children you have in your home. Per child, like an extra $100 per child, approximately.
So yeah, we experienced that here on the Eastern Shore also. The funding is because the schools participate in SNAP, whereas we at Head Start primarily CACFP. So those funds or the leniency didn't transfer over like that. So we did have parents that have called us and did ask the question, were we eligible for those other funds? Because if not, they were going to take their child and put in the public school to receive those additional funds for for those children.
I don't understand. I'm trying to figure out it's a different pot of money, but we participate in the free and reduced lunch program. It is definitely hurting enrollment in some places. But eventually I think it's the kids who get already free reduced, right? So it's definitely for a few people. That's how I heard about it. It's hurting their enrollment because being that parents are just deciding and I mean, I understand it because
Hey,
you never get enough food stamps to feed you for the whole month anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's something we can do about it or who we advocate for that it's affecting the funding, the enrollment, even though the Office of Head Start understands the lacks, this is completely different.
Because I had mentioned it to Tressa, but that was right at the time her husband had passed away. I didn't revisit it with her at that time, but I had brought that up before because we had begun to see that and hear that from parents on the shore.
And Yvonne, you said this is, I don't know who we, I guess we can bring this up to Tressa when she comes back. Tressa's out on foot surgery now, I think. So we could talk to Tressa maybe a little bit more, see if we can get with Stephen Hicks and Cindy as well.
Right. I don't know who we talk to, but it definitely needs to be a conversation. If we can have one, I don't understand it, but it's definitely affecting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll make sure we mark this down to speak with Tressa when she gets back. I think she'll be back next week. Yeah. Is there anything else that anyone else would like to share?
I'm Latasha.
Hi, Latasha. How you doing?
From St. Vincent de Paul, Head Start in Maryland. We have opened back up, but we're virtual. We're doing all of our virtual. Some of the challenges that we've kind of noticed is just with parents' technology, trying to get all of our parents kind of enrolled in the Zoom classes and get them acclimated to the system to kind of even get their kids in the classrooms. We've begun to launch our meals project, which we'll be doing next week, where we'll be doing like 3 times a week, we'll be giving out the meals to our families for the whole week, Mondays and Wednesdays, and then again on Friday for Monday meals. So we haven't quite started that program yet, but the plus is that families are signing up for it. The only disadvantage is that we're not able to provide the meals to all of the kids in the household, just, the kids that are enrolled in our Head Start program. And then trying to get the families to do like the home visits. That's been a challenge in some of our locations only because of language barriers with the families. But other than that, this last week or 2 weeks or so have been kind of a slow rev up with getting all of our families enrolled, getting to our 50% capacity. That's about it.
And those home visits are virtual, right?
Yes, we've been doing our home visits. We do have office hours for some of our locations because we're still doing enrollments. So with the enrollment, we kind of have like a system where the parents are able to drop off and pick up information. And for the areas where we have that language barrier, we've kind of been doing that where we've had parents be able to come at least pick up the paperwork so they're physically looking at it when we're conducting the virtual home visits, so that they know, at least if they have somebody that is able to translate for them in home, or if they're having some difficulties kind of reading the documents, we can kind of go through with them actually looking at the documents.
Okay.
I'm thinking, I don't know if there's a department at Towson University that's looking for their students to be able to volunteer that do interpreting or anything.
Right.
So maybe we can find out from Laurencia if that department is looking. I don't, like I said, I don't know if that's at Towson, but maybe that's another partnership where they can help with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So, one question: when you're doing the virtual classrooms, are the children required to be on camera?
Yeah, our students. Yeah. So we have the Zoom for the Zoom for educators. We kind of switched all of our teachers over from their personal Zoom accounts to the whole program going to the Zoom for educators, and we are requiring the families to be on Zoom like the public schools are doing as well.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. I do want to share, going back to the HIPAA compliant platforms. Lavanya shared with me a link to Microsoft Teams. And I'm going to share it with everyone else. That shows that Microsoft Teams is HIPAA compliant. So if anyone is using Microsoft Teams, you should be okay. I didn't read it in depth to know if there's any kind of version. I don't think there's any other versions of Microsoft Teams. So, but if you're using it, you can look at that article that I just put in the chat to let you know about their HIPAA compliance. Would anything else that anybody else would like to share? I know it's 2:00, so I don't want to hold you long.
Hey, Simeon.
Hey, Teresa.
Hi. I just wanted to share a couple things that we're doing. We really haven't hit too many challenges. We've been kind of rolling along since March 15th, but I just wanted to share some things that have worked out well for Calvert. We've been doing virtual classrooms since March, the beginning of the school year. We're continuing. So we aligned our class to mimic the public schools pre-K class. So we do 90 minutes live classroom in the morning. Then we have about another hour and a half of asynchronous learning, meaning independent study. So we've put together a schedule for parents to work on additional activities that the kids have done that morning when they have time. We've also partnered with University of Maryland Extension to do some cooking videos. We partnered with the library to use their links for story time for that independent time. And then we are also doing, we're trying to get a schedule together for virtual field trips. So the parents can do virtual field trips with their children once a week. We did do a parent orientation right from the beginning. We actually had Beth present because we used Frog Street. We purchased Frog Street for Parents. We purchased ABC Mouse, and we also purchased Ready Rosie. So doing those independent opportunities at asynchronous time, parents have all of that available to them. So the teachers are actually doing a lesson plan weekly that they send out to the parents to let them know what we're working on daily in the classroom and then what can be done during that asynchronous time. Then for the afternoon portion, pre-K is doing something similar. And then for our kids that are flipped, they do pre-K in the morning, then we come in the afternoon pretty much with that same schedule. So with Calvert, they're using Wednesdays as professional development days, so that whole day is a day of independent learning for families. And so with the combination of Ready Rosie, ABC Mouse, and pre-K, Frog Street at home, parents really have lots of opportunities. We're fortunate because we are with the school system, so we used our iPads that we already had in the classrooms as loaners for parents. And then We also have ordered additional laptops that we haven't gotten in. So every family basically has either a laptop and or an iPad. Right now, we're about 60% full. We're going to continue to recruit so that we can come up to 100% enrollment. Calvert is really looking to move probably more quickly than we want to have pre-K and Head Start become face-to-face. We did a survey with our families, and 65% of our families do not want their kids face-to-face. They prefer the virtual learning, but we have 35% of our families who really do want to send their children to school. So what we've decided to do is to continue to offer virtual learning for the entire year. And what we will probably do is to look at one classroom teacher and staff to do virtual for everybody, and then have a Head Start Center open when the school system actually opens. So that's our plan in terms of moving forward. But I just wanted to say that the partnerships that we have with the library, the University of Maryland Extension Office have really kind of helped fill some of the gaps. We are also, the teachers are also required to record their lessons so that parents that are working during the times that children would really be in school, or if children are in childcare and the childcare person just can't handle it, they can still go online on Teams and pick up that classroom activity. So I just wanted to share some of the things that are working for us as we're moving forward.
Oh, that sounds great. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. And we have, I've been recording so I can go back and listen and take down notes from, everything that everyone has shared here today. So thank you, Teresa. Anybody else would like to share before we get out of here? Okay, well, again, I am going to do a follow-up to this meeting, and I'll have all of the documents in that follow-up. And, I'll look to do another meeting around, again, the third Wednesday of October. And if we need to do anything before then, if anything happens or comes up, we need to do something before then we'll schedule it. But I'll be looking to do it around the third Wednesday of October. So look forward to an invitation to that meeting. All right. And other than that, thank you all for taking the time. I know you're busy.
Hold on, Simeon.
Oh, go ahead.
So if everybody stayed, I'm trying to set up the 15-minute conversations with directors. I've done it with quite a few, but some people are still missing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I just put the link in the chat. I'll try to. If you have not had a 15-minute conversation with me, we're just updating information on your management team and explaining how we're doing the membership this year, and some of the upcoming things that are coming up. I just put the link. Please click on the doodle poll and pick a time and date that will work for you. If you're already scheduled, thank you. If we've already done it, thank you. And I'm still missing just a few. And hopefully everybody that still has upcoming ones have gotten the emails from me confirming your upcoming ones. So we still need to, because the new membership starts in October 1st. So please use the link and pick a time and date that works for you. It's only about 15 minutes, I think, at the most. Maybe 20, 15.
All right.
It depends. Some of the directors are talking. No, I'm joking. It's me.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So did you put that? Yeah, I see it in the
Yeah,
chat.
just
And I'll make sure I include that. I'll make sure that I include that with the in the follow-up email.
Right.
All right. Well, I thank everybody for your time, and I'll see you next month.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.